Don't reveal your true self to society. Jordan Peterson. Reflecting on the words of Jordan Peterson, it is clear that as humans, we are not solitary beings. We are intricately woven into the fabric of society because we are innately social creatures.
We're highly social creatures. We have a long period of dependence. We have to make our way in, the nuclear family unit, whatever it happens to be. Then we have to adjust to the broader group.
Just as we need each other to survive, we need to contribute to the society that nurtures us. Failure to do so can lead to exclusion, punishment, and isolation, reflecting the reciprocal nature of our relationships.
We have to be acceptable to the broader group, and then we have to learn to maintain the broader group and to contribute to it. Because if we don't, the quality of our experience will suffer dramatically.
The concept of appropriate behavior is not as arbitrary as it might seem.
At least uphold a fair bit of your social responsibility. And so what that means right away is that the patterns that constitute appropriate behavior are not just arbitrary.
Like Peterson pointed out, we are not just living in a society, we are dancing a complex dance, set to the music of social norms and expectations. This dance is embedded in our interactions, in the rules we follow, and in the roles we play within our social hierarchies. Even when we don't fully comprehend the rules of this dance, we continue to participate. We engage with others, we learn, we adapt, and we shape the society in which we live. Peterson highlights that just because we don't know exactly what we're doing, doesn't mean we aren't doing something meaningful.
And they can dance with other kids, but they can't tell you how to dance. But that doesn't mean they don't know how to do it. And we're all like that, right?
Further, we're not just learning the steps to this dance, we're constantly being guided and shaped by those around us.
And we don't exactly know, which is why we need the psychology. But just because we don't know what we're up to doesn't mean we're not up to something. And it also doesn't mean that there isn't something that we should be up to.
We are immersed in a sea of signals and cues, from a raised eyebrow to a text message, each broadcasting a particular expectation of who we should be.
Be what I need, be what I need, be what they need. And so you're always being told a message from people, even if they're just raising their eyebrows at you, or smiling or not smiling, or calling you on the phone or texting you, or not doing that.
These expectations aren't arbitrary, they stem from our shared biological ground and common human emotions and motivations. Our society, in Peterson's words, is not a construct built on moral relativism. There are certain constraints in our behavior and in our interactions, constants that stem from our shared humanity. The principle of reciprocity is one such constant. It is a principle that forms the bedrock of stable societies, families, and relationships.
Non-reciprocal relations at any level of interaction they're not tenable, and they shouldn't be tenable. So when you see people in psychotherapy, especially if they tend to be on the agreeable side.
However, not all societies follow this principle, and that's where the trouble begins. If a society or a relationship goes against the idea of giving and receiving in equal measure, it is bound to fail. This concept is extremely important for us to acknowledge, understand, and respect.
Societies, and this is also a Piagetian notion, that societies that violate the principle of reciprocity are not very stable because no one's pleased by those circumstances.
Peterson's ideas prompt us to think about the fundamental questions of our existence and our journey through life. Life can be compared to a card game where we are given a specific set of cards and we must make the most of them.
Well, as you move in life, you bump up against limitations that you cannot transcend. And those are the typical limitations. You bump up against the demands of the social group, which has a tyrannical element. You bump up against nature itself.
But life isn't solely about playing these cards. It's also about recognizing the inherent limitations of our hand and figuring out how to navigate them. In Peterson's perspective, life is both a blessing and a challenge. We are presented with opportunities because we exist, but we also have to face the unavoidable restrictions that come with it, both on an individual level and within society. These limitations define the boundaries in which we engage in our intricate dance, contributing to the larger game of society. This speech, inspired by Jordan Peterson, is an invitation to reflect on what is life, to acknowledge our roles within it, and to understand the rules that govern our behavior. We are not just humans, we are the protagonists of our own lives, constantly shaping and being shaped by the societies in which we live. Let's embrace this journey, with all its complexities and limitations, and strive to make a positive contribution to the world. Let's not just play our hand, let's play it well.